Hey everybody, welcome to Combat Saturday for December 5th, 2020. I'm your host, DM Gallibond. Now today on Combat Saturday, we are going to talk about a weapon that has been around in D&D for a long time, not quite since the beginning, although curiously enough it was referenced in passing in the original rules. But it has been available for players and DMs with mechanical stat blocks since first edition or AD&D. So let's go ahead and jump in to our discussion of the Scimitar. All right, so the Scimitar, as I mentioned, it did come into D&D with first edition AD&D Player's Handbook. The Scimitar originally came in costing 15 gold pieces, and then it had a weight of 40 coins, which is 4 pounds, 10 coins to a pound. Then damage versus a small or medium opponent is 1d8, and versus a large opponent is also 1d8. And then a note over here is that if you wanted to flavor it as such, you could flavor it without changing any of the stats as a cutlass, a saber, a sickle sword, a tulwar, etc. Now, sickle sword, that's probably, a weapon derived from the uh, reaping tool of the sickle. Um, Tulwar, I actually don't know what a tulwar is. Um, I, that is probably some sort of, um, medieval weapon from Asia or the Middle East or someplace like that. That is not um, as popular as some of the other things from American or Western culture. All right, then in second edition, the Scimitar continued to cost 15 gold pieces, weigh 4 pounds, and dealt slashing damage 1d8 and 1d8, just like it did in first edition. In third edition, the Scimitar still cost 14 or 15 gold pieces, but interestingly enough, they changed up its damage. Now, damage when it was wielded by a small creature was 1d4, and when wielded by a medium creature is 1d6. And what it does give you is it does give you an increased critical range. So instead of a critical range of only 20 or even only 19 to 20, with a Scimitar, if you roll an 18 through 20 on your attack roll, you could get a critical hit on that. 4-pound weapon, and it does slashing damage. So that was a little bit of a difference there in third edition. Now, fourth edition, uh, the Scimitar is considered a military melee weapon. +2 proficiency, 1d8 damage, 10 gold pieces for the cost, 4 pounds heavy blade, and then properties of high crit. So it keeps that high crit range, that expanded crit range from third edition, and it's considered a heavy blade for purposes of weapon groups in fourth edition. And now, coming up to fifth edition, we see that it changes yet again. The Scimitar now it's a little more expensive. Inflation. What are you going to do? It's 25 gold pieces now instead of 15 gold pieces. And the damage in 5th edition is only 1d6. And interestingly enough, the weight has also changed. It's more expensive and now it's lighter at 3 pounds. Well, why would they do that? Well, because they have decided in 5th edition to give it the properties of a finesse weapon or a light weapon. Now, a finesse weapon means that you can choose to use either your dexterity or your strength bonus to figure into your attack roll. And the light weapon property means that it's lightweight and easy to handle, so it's a weapon you could use for two-handed fighting. Very interesting that it flipped from being a heavy blade in 4th edition to being a light weapon in 5th edition. So now, why is it interesting to go and look back at all of these changes? Well, it's something to go in your DM's toolbox. It gives you it it divorces you from the notion that something has always been the way it is, and always and forever it will be and has been and never will change. D&D does change, and so that means you as the DM have license to then fiddle around the edges. Now, I know as a DM that when players bring something to me, the first thing I do is I go to the rules for the current edition. And I sometimes will get DM blinders by looking at what the rules say on the current edition. But the more I dig into all of these things with the other editions, the more I'm trying to open myself up to say, oh, okay, well, this came here. Fine. Ask the player, where'd you find it? Where'd you see it? And, um, then begin to look at the potential of possibilities. Now, you don't want to go hog wild with this stuff because you'll break your game. And, you know, nothing will be balanced. And you'll have a hard time, your players will have a hard time surviving encounters, or your monsters will have a hard time even causing your players to break a sweat. And either way, that starts to get boring after a while. So, you know, be aware that things are not static in this game and that things do change from edition to edition, and that you as DM, and ideally in consultation with your players and in cooperative um, collusion, if you will, with your players, you do have opportunities to make changes to the rules of the game as it applies to your particular game and your particular campaign. Also, you need to keep in mind, and players, if you have an individual DM that does something in their game, don't expect that because one DM does something that you're going to be able to do that in another game, because it applies to their game, their situation, the way they run it, and you trying to pull something out of that game and drop it into a different game could completely ruin the balance. So, um, don't whine, don't pout if one DM allows you to do something another DM doesn't. Just shut up and deal with it. DMs, if your players bring you something, uh, try to resist the initial. Nope, 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 nope. Don't want to hear it. Try to resist that initial reaction, and at least think about it and figure out if it could in fact work, and maybe it could enhance your game. Because always remember, anything the players bring you that they want to do, that's fair game for you to use against them as well. All right. That's going to do it for our discussion of the Scimitar. I've been DM Gallibond. This has been Combat Saturday. If you like what we're doing here on this channel, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, click the post notification bell so that you too can be notified every time new content drops. And with that, I want to thank you all for listening. Have a wonderful day. Take care, and we will talk to you later. Good night, everybody.